Good morning, Josh here. Hopefully you can hear me. As always, in this video I'm going to run through today's 3 tips where, as always, hopefully one of them can come in. Would be delightful. Where am I going to start? As always, they are listed in kind of the order that I make the decision and get to them. Whether there's anything in that, I'm not really sure, but Sparkling Ollie is the one for Rafe Beckett, which I'm going to start with, which is the 220. If I just jump over to Odds Checker, kind of steady in the market around 11 to 2 generally. If you've still got a Bet365 account, can obviously get a bit bigger. I haven't looked at the exchanges. What did I want to say about her? She makes handicap debut, another one from these owners to switch from Michael Bell to Rafe Beckett, possibly the 3rd or 4th one this season. Strangely, or not strangely, I'm not quite sure, the same owners have a runner for Michael Bell in an earlier race at Chepstow. No doubt that one will win and this one won't. But what do I want to say about her? She's the daughter of Glen Eagles, who's obviously out of Galileo. The breeding's fairly solid. Connections will be hoping to get a few wins in her and to get this mark up, if anything, for some kind of broodmare potential down the line. Her 2 runs to date have been solid. That Newmarket effort was decent, sent off 33 to 1. As you can see there from the description from the Racing Post, unfurnished, etc., etc. Yeah, clearly quite late maturing, given it had 1 run in October, and then that was it, given the winter, to grow and strengthen some more, no doubt. The return at Yarmouth was decent. If you watch it back, it was over 10 furlongs. If I just look at the future form, the front 2 both came out and won again, which is obviously decent. By my side for Michael Bell, also another, the stablemate at the time, placed a couple of times. Viola placed, so for a maiden it's not too bad. Sparkling Ollie was held up. If you come down here, what do I want to do? Comments. Was held up in the rear, and the ones at the front were kind of close up, made all. So she was poorly placed. She made a move kind of 4 furlongs to 2 furlongs out, and you can see it when watching the video on the replay, and the sectionals back that up. This 4 furlong to 2 furlong out, these times here in 11.27 and 11.66 sectionals is rapid relatively, I think, especially for this grade. And actually, those times from 4 to 2 out combined were a fair bit quicker, half a second, 3 lengths or so quicker than the second, who only got beaten by a head and has since won again. And that's some indication, I suppose, of where track position and how a race is run can affect things. But this speed she showed here, having kind of gone evenly through the start and been 6 lengths off the leader at the time, then 7.5, demonstrates to me that A, she's got some ability, B, the drop back to 8 miles and that pace may be okay. And she did fade late there, although I suppose on the final 2 furlongs, that may have been a result of that effort she just made that I touched on, and sent off at 14's first run of the season. No doubt may have needed it also. Rafe Beckett does well with trainer change, as he's done in the last 2 years, and I think 2 of those are from the Bell stable, maybe all 3 might be, to him. So that's solid. You've got the green kind of C1, C5 indicating he does fairly well at the track. First start handicappers do pretty well as well. If I just click on him here with Rob at the Rob Hornby at the course, they're 2 from 7, 3 places, 1 from 1 in handicaps. Hornby and Ross Orion seem to be 2 of the go-tos. So I thought kind of around 6 is 11 to 2, especially with the weight allowance and into this fillies only handicap, that at some point, for all those things said, including the breeding and the promises shown, I think 71 is workable, and she will be better than that. It's just a question of when she shows it and whether that's today. I hope Rob is a bit more aggressive. She's got a bit of experience. She showed that pace. I'd like her to be tracking the pace and a bit further forward, which we can see here. if we do the draw, the stalls are kind of in the centre of the track, and this is a straight 8, isn't it? So yeah, no, she's going to be able to get cover, and they may well kind of come up arrow formation up the middle. It'll be interesting to see. I didn't think the rest. I thought the rest had various different questions. Some are a bit more exposed in this, including the Mick Shannon filly. But she is hardy and tough, and I suppose mine has to prove she can put her head in front. But there was just something there which has made me gone 1.5 points, which is probably done for her. So apologies to Connections. Mayfair Pompette is another stats qualifier and one for the horse race base ratings top 4. I didn't think she was overpriced at 3s, 11 to 4. I wanted a bigger price. She's worn the hood before. She's been keen. The hood's now off. She's normally held up out the back, or has been, because of how keen she is. She does drop in class here. There were just a few niggles, and I wasn't totally convinced with her under pressure last time. And she has to prove she can A, settles, B, see her race out, and C, has battling qualities. Now that might be okay in a race like this for 6s plus. When you're talking 3s, I was happy to take on. I was happy to leave the rest for various other reasons. I think they've all got questions to answer. Glaweth won a week race last time, up in class, up £12. Hopefully find something a bit more unexposed in here. So that's that race. If I jump over to the 8.25 at Haydock, Mack the Cat, who is from a hot form. So yeah, second race after the hot form. I won't go into it. A couple of hot form. He ran at Haydock over 10 furlongs on his seasonal return. Ran as if he may needed it. Maybe he didn't quite get home. That race has worked out okay with a couple in front. The Pontefract race is looking decent, especially for what feels like an open enough handicap like this. Nothing, no 3-year-olds in this. Obviously, it's a 4-year-old plus, so nothing totally unexposed, and everything has the odd question to some degree. But yes, that Pontefract race is working out okay. He then went up to a class 3. Hortzar would have won that, who's a solid 90s horse, but he got demoted. Redana's rated in the high 80s, I think. That was on soft. He did dictate fairly slow. I'm not quite sure he was in love with that proper soft ground. And he has looked a bit, not tricky, but if you watch the replays in his head carriage, not his head carriage, but I can see, well, I suppose what I'm trying to say is I can see why they're trying cheek pieces, and I'm quite pleased they are trying some kind of headgear. I don't think he's ungenuine, but it might just make him concentrate and kind of respond better in the final furlong or so. They drop him down to 8 furlongs. He's got course form. A slight bit of cut is fine, but it should be drying out, which should be okay as well. I just thought his marks come down another pound. Some of these RPRs are above now his handicap mark. Some of that form was working out okay. The yard are going a bit better than they were, especially on the place percentages. And yeah, I just thought at 9s with 4 places to play at, there was enough there. He's drawn on the inside. He will go out and, well, I'm not quite sure they'll try and lead necessarily and be too overly aggressive. There are a couple, including 2 at the top of the market down here, who kind of made all last time out. Nate De Silva can go forward. They're obviously they're wider drawn. They could use up too much gas trying to get out and across. But if they do, and he can kind of sit in 3rd, 4th, 5th and just track them and then pull out possibly up the inside or wait for a gap up the straight. He does look like a galloping sort, but yeah, down 2 classes into a weaker race than he has been contesting. First run in a Class 5 handicap since that okay Haydock run. This could well be his level. And I just thought in what felt an open race, Garden Oasis did hack up last time. I don't think he'll find it quite as easy to lead. Ripon possibly suits front runners a bit more than Haydock, especially in a big field like this. You've got a question of whether the blinkers work again, but he is down in class. Hopefully, if he does go forward, he doesn't get an easy time on the front. But I suppose that's kind of influenced the each way to a point, as well as the 4 places being available for now. Hopefully there's not another non-runner, but we know what may happen given there's 16 runners as I speak. No doubt one will come out and it'll go down to 3 places. Andrew Balding's horse is okay, but again up in the weights and better class of race. Yeah, it felt open. I thought in the end, 9-1 each way was fair, and more than happy to have a go. The final one where I was a bit on the fence, and the prices lured me in. She was fours 9-2 generally this morning. By kind of 9 o'clock, she's 7-1 generally. I think that's actually fair. I'm a bit concerned she might be a bit soft at the moment, and there's a question about battling qualities and effort in the finish. The price has just lured me in mainly because her best career run to date was at Beverley over this course and distance. This 7.5 furlongs, a bit stiffer. Maybe she was flattered by that form, but he's a decent horse who won a handicap at Sandown recently off 100, a Class 2, beating Dark Vision, who'd won at Ascot. That gives hope that she might be okay from a mark of 66 at some point. She clearly hasn't progressed great. But again, this Yarmouth form was hot, and that was a decent run to a point, and maybe she just needed it in the final furlong, or she just bottled it. She then ran okay at Doncaster, but it was a bit meh. I tipped her there in a bigger, well, possibly a slightly deeper race, slightly bigger field, and she didn't run that well at all. That was maybe a bit silly. Maybe the price was about right there. But Joe Fanning wasn't exactly aggressive on her and didn't really get stuck in, so we'll see. It's because of that course form. I think he'll get out. He'll be able to track a couple of front runners in this, in How Bizarre. Dawn Breaking can go forward, and again it felt a bit open, a mediocre enough handicap. A couple of them, Red Trebles being well backed, he can be held up. Kentucky Connection was in front of Serenading in that Doncaster race, but he can be held up cold also, which isn't ideal over this course and distance. So we shall see. It's that Beverley run, and the fact there is something there, and she returns here. Fanshawe actually has a better fancied one in later on under Holly Doyle. Is it in the 340? Yeah, Canasta. So maybe I've picked the wrong one. We shall see, because he's got two runners at the track, but enough there, and he sticks with Joe Fanning, who knows her from last time out and that Beverley run, and he rides the course pretty well. So that's the three tips, all at a decent price to my eyes. My most bullish probably is Sparkling Ollie. We shall see what she does, but is one to track whatever. Hopefully Mack the Cat can be inspired by the cheek pieces, and Burke actually does quite well with first time cheek pieces in 4-year-old plus races, 4 from 15, 8 places off the top of my head, having looked an hour or so ago, and yeah, so that's that. 2 hours ago I should say. So yeah, they're the three tips. Is there anything else I wanted to say? Something else may pop up. Mayfair Pompette was a price thing. Red Missile is rock bottom of horse race base ratings in a race that I thought felt open and quite competitive, but it is a 3-year-old only handicap, I think, and maybe he'll outrun his odds. We shall see, but there wasn't quite enough there for tipping purposes, and his position on the horse race base ratings. But the stats are the stats, and maybe he will surprise me. In the Cove was short. That was a price issue. Boulevard Beauty's rated 45 in a 0 to 60, just really poor grade stuff. He hasn't done anything of note today. He plugged on last time and now try him over 2 miles. He could just be slow. I won't fall off my seat if he provides the H strategy with a winner, but you're clutching at a few straws from a subjective tipping purpose. And I was happy to leave a race of that quality in a horse rated in the 40s. The Jim Crowley mount, again, that's price. Should go very, very close. Dress Code is in this maiden. She's a bit small. Her first race is working out pretty well. Maybe one for handicaps. A yard with Colin Keane on. He's on another one and on the favourite. There's a first timer for Jessie Harrington. There's an Aidan O'Brien in the top 3 in the market. So I got an eye on her. I think she'll try and set the pace, but could be one for handicaps after this. And I've tipped the other 2. Maybe she'll surprise me and everyone else in the market. We shall see. But some of that form suggests current mark when she gets one could be workable, maybe around a tight track, maybe with bends, which might suit her style. So yeah, that's that as I tick around 15 minutes, hopefully useful enough. Plenty of methods to the madness, as always. And yeah, they all should be, well, these latter 2 should be prominent. and sparkling Ollie, I'm hoping, is going to be prominent enough, but it's a long galloping 8 furlongs, so no excuse. Yeah, good luck. Thanks for watching.